Welcome to Patient Zero. I'm your host, Isole. Patient Zero shares a focus on personal, career, and spiritual relationship growth and sustainability. The term Patient Zero generally describes a point of origin for any experience, event, or entity. From the first moment of our creation, as a spirit of origination, each of us becomes the patient zero of our lifetime journey. On Patient Zero, you'll hear tips and takeaways for healthier daily interactions to achieve greater success at home and work. You'll also learn how prophecy can educate, entertain, and edify, with an awareness about prophetic events, people, and circumstances to help you know and prepare for God's purpose-filled plans. I've worked with people who grapple with quote unquote pornography addiction, and yet they fail to understand that pornography is not an addiction. It's a desire. It's a behavioral response choice. People who label it as an addiction want to give themselves an excuse for avoiding personal responsibility by giving in to their desire to go to a porn site for visual stimulation with sexualized intent. Okay, I get it. The urge for stimulation and satisfaction can be physically and mentally compelling, but that doesn't make it an addiction. Why? Well, one overlooked aspect of this quote-unquote addiction excuse is sex is always mental first. We always think about sex first before it's ever actionable, before we seek it, before we talk about it, before we engage in it. Even actual physical sex with another, for that matter, is always mental thought first. If you're tempted by pornography or any other potential negative outcome activity, especially those involving actions of going to an internet site, that temptation is first in your thoughts, then in your fingertips. Let me say that again. Your power is first in your thoughts, then in your fingertips. So don't look for, don't scroll, don't find, and don't push the enter button. Change your thought. Engage in something else. Paint the porch. Take out the trash. Play with your dog. Play with your children. Or have sex with your partner. If you find yourself drawn to pornography, or again, any activity with potential negative consequences for you and your life, compulsions to drink, gamble, purchase things you can't afford, bicker, argue, fight, strike out or strike back, relationship disruption or road rage. Any activity that results in consequences not in your best interest, or activities that can ruin your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, possibly even your life. In that moment, change your thought direction. Change your thinking from that specific desire, that specific thought pathway, and its potential negative outcome producing actions. Remember, you can only focus on one thought in any given moment. So change that thought. Now, why is the power of thought so impactful to our relationships and our daily lives? Well, simply said, if you summon the power of thought within you to change your responsive action to a choice or decision, you can change your entire future. And while the power of your thoughts are only in your mind, the power of those thought actions are in your control. You can engage in them or not. You see, thoughts about goals, desires, ambitions have the power to change your life today into your life tomorrow, and potentially to reshape your entire future. So why not make them positive? Why not steer or guide your thinking, your responses, your actions, your behaviors to those in your best interest? You see, negative outcome producing thoughts may have the power to satisfy an immediate want or need, but in that space or place, they often fail to fulfill or to move us forward with our long-term goals, dreams, and ambitions. Negative outcome producing responses or actions are roadblocks to your future aspirations, because the more power you give them, the more they can work to delay future goal attainment. If we constantly act, react, or interact with spur-of-the-moment ideas, desires, or compulsions, they can dilute, alter, or tweak our focus. Think about someone you admire in any endeavor: business, industry, sports, commerce, entertainment, even entrepreneurship. Someone at the top of their game or profession. How did they get there? Practice, practice, practice. They developed a skill set or honed a talent using their time and energy to focus on furthering that specific skill or talent by refining and editing their thoughts and actions. Pick a favorite professional sports star, business leader, or entertainer. They spend almost every hour of every week practicing and perfecting their skill. They practice when they're awake. They think and mentally practice while they're resting, oftentimes while they're sleeping as well. And when they reach the top, what happens? They continue that devotion of time and energy to stay on top. This is why the journey to the top and then staying there can be so arduous. And the truth is, only a relative few have the character, energy, and drive to attain this upper level elite place within any given arena. Why? Well, simply said, it takes consistent dedication, passion, time, and energy, often to the exclusion of all other people or endeavors. That's why success at this level can be so all-consuming. And that's why many operating at this career altitude often succumb to pressures or temptations of escape mechanisms. They may convince themselves they've missed out on much of what life offers while they were singularly focused on their path of success. You see, there are two sides to every coin, a yin and a yang. And keeping balance is unattainable for most people and precarious at best for the rest. Why? Because success in careers or in relationships takes time, energy, and effort. Manifesting is making your future reality, the actuality you choose to experience by bringing to fruition that which you focus and concentrate on mentally today, and then applying through your actions with intent and consistency each day to make it your future reality tomorrow. That's why manifesting is often a big picture or future change exercise that works best for long-term outcomes. Along the way, there can be mental distractions, obstacles, or stumbling blocks, and they'll get in the way of any near-term goals. So what's missing in this equation? We have a goal, a dream, a future desire, one we manifest or mentally visualize as already happening, meaning we see ourselves in a specific situation, mentally experiencing future acts and responses. Let me give you an example. If you've ever gone through a relationship breakup, there often comes a time when you're about to reunite to discuss the current situation and or a possible future together. And before the meetup, you go through the entire conversation in your head, as you hope it will go. You say this, he or she says that, you respond, he or she responds. And you run through the entire scene, playing out the whole conversation in your mind. Well, manifesting is similar. We identify specifics that would be a natural outcome or extension of who we are now, in accordance with our dream or goal, and therefore who we can, desire, or will be in the future. Manifesting is mentally preparing yourself to live your future life. By knowing who you are now, shaded by what and why you're choosing to do now, with actions, responses, and consequences that will make your future the reality you visualize it to be in your mind right now. I know that's hard to follow. Let me share that once again. Manifesting is mentally preparing yourself to live the life of your future. By knowing who you are now, influenced by what and why you're choosing to do now, with actions or responses that will make your future the reality you visualize it to be in your mind right now. So what's missing? What's missing in this process that will make your future manifestation your reality? Well, here's the key so many so-called life coaches fail to share. What's missing are the signs and markers today that can actually lead you to your dream or goal tomorrow. Now, what do I mean? I can have a visualization of my new reality in my mind, but I need to be able to recognize the signs and markers on my path today that will work to promote or allow my future to unfold as my new reality tomorrow and beyond. You see, the signs and markers are the keys to success in the manifestation process. Why? Because the signs and markers are on your path today. And it's these signs and markers today that will ensure that you stay on course for your future tomorrow with your manifested intentions. So you say, okay, Branch, I get it. How do we prepare for our future today? Well, you already know. Practice, practice, practice. Practice every day, focused on your future manifested goals and the actions that will lead to those accomplishments. So here's the key for successful manifesting. Pay attention to the people and events in your life today who can help or hinder your efforts for your long-term goals, dreams, and ambitions of tomorrow. Now that's the how of manifesting. However, if we look behind the veil, we start to see the why. It becomes revealed. And the why is the real key. Because the why of the process holds the power behind our thoughts. Here it is. Our thoughts become our actions. Our actions become our habits. Our habits become our character, and our character determines our destiny. Thanks for joining me today. On Patient Zero, we share key takeaways for growth-filled living. If you know someone who could benefit from today's episode, please share it with them. If today's show has been interesting for you, please give us a rating and review. And to know more about my work, I invite you to visit my website, branchisole.com, my Substack page, branchisole.substack.com, and my YouTube channel, Branch Isole. Substack subscribers also receive a thought for today every morning, 2 spiritual Christianity prophecy alerts every week, and an open mic poem short story every Saturday, as well as access to Patient Zero episodes and informative series and articles. At the website, you'll also find my books, ebooks, and gift merchandise. Join me again next Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. right here at branchisole.substack.com. Until then, keep growing and be in the world, not of the world.